Are you ready? Okay, let's do it.
It's Monday night, and the second round of ATC13 is about to kick off here at Phoenix Raceway. We are back on the Phoenix Road course for the first time since Season 1. That was something like an 8-car field. Austin Edwards passed Logan McKenzie late for the win in what was really his only ATC start. Today, it's a sprint format, so a 20-minute sprint and then a 30-minute feature with a 12-car grid invert. So look for drivers. That top 12 is going to be important in the first race. And then, of course, there is no pit stop for this particular sprint today. So let's take a look at the starting grid as we look down at the drivers all sitting. Look at them. They're wrapping around the NASCAR turn. I'm not sure how far back that goes. There are quite a few cars in the field, led by none other than Manuel Saralegui, the ATR Argento's driver. He put up a 101.586. That was just 3/100ths better than Matthew Mayer's time. And then you have McKenzie 5/100ths back, and Gonzalo Fabi a little over 8/100ths back. And then Hendricks is just over a 10th back in 5th place, and this is his home track, so look for him to perform well here today. And then you have Carr, Schenk, Smith, Harrison, and Lucas Lodato in his first ATC appearance, cracking the top 10 in what is a very difficult field here at Phoenix today. David Bauer, Evan Clavijo on Delta Pole, and he's all the way up in 12th. Alongside him, though, is brand new Delta driver, or I suppose he was in the race last week at Belle Isle, but he's qualified much better today. He's alongside Clavijo, sitting there in 13th for Bearcat Motorsports. Then you have Dan McFarland. He's sitting down in 14th there. Mike D'Almeida, 15th. Acatella, 16th. Darnell, Fedorowski, Gorman, and Bass. That is your top 20 for the race. And then we continue on down the grid. And we see Rhodes, Mitchell, Trenton Kramer, Matt Zepka, Yongsi Lin. Lin all the way down in 25th, struggling a bit here, at least in qualifying at Phoenix. Stephen Lakota making an appearance. Tianya Chang in 27th, and Al Rijla 28th. Akers and Bowman round out the top 30. Saab, Pierce, Coons, Rickmeyer, Perez, Schmidt, Bramble, Rakowski, Murray, and Gilbert. That's your top 40. Remember, the top 40, that is the points cutoff. If you want to score points below that, you have to complete at least half the leader's laps, and then you get the minimum amount of points. But either way, if you want more points, you got to get above 40. So that is an important cutoff. That is your starting field for Phoenix. We now wait for the green lights. The field waits to be led away by Manuel Saraleghi. And they are revving up, waiting for the flag to drop. And they are away. We are go here at Phoenix. And a couple cars already making moves. Micah Hendricks dives to the inside here immediately, trying to get the jump on these guys up front. And there he goes. He's stuck in between McKenzie and Fabi and Schenk and Carr, all as they roll through the S's here. This is going to be a tight, fast corner. Oh, a car going wide there. That's Lodato battling with David Bauer. And now they head into the hairpin. This is where things are going to stack up. And they are managing this very well thus far as they come down to the second hairpin. This is the exit back onto the oval. Mayer is following Gonzalo Fabi as closely as he can here. Lodato up the inside of one of the yellow flag motorsports cars. That's Mike D'Almeida. And now they head into NASCAR 3. Schenk flashing Hendricks. Didn't like what he saw. And now coming out of 4, Saraleghi will lead the first laps here at Phoenix Raceway. And that was a clean first lap. I didn't see any issues throughout the field. And they are stacked up back there. Look at this group here. A lot of T0 cars here. Oh, a little contact there. Saab's going to get sideways into the wall outside. He's managed to not hit anybody. Fuad originally coming back on track from something while that is happening. Up ahead, Yongsi Lin and Justin Rhodes going side by side. Lin trying to finish him off before they get to the hairpin. And he's not going to be able to close the door, but he does. Rhodes has to back out of that, but he slides back in as Lin has to go in too deep, trying that maneuver. And they are side by side, heading down to the hairpin, exiting the track. And that is a slow car right there. That's, I'm not sure who that is. The 22, that is Adrian Fedorowski in the new 212 Racing livery. That's why I didn't recognize it. That is one of the new teams on the grid this season. Let's jump back up front because Anthony Harrison has just gone around David Bauer. He's squeezed into the middle of this battle as there's a little bit of, there's something. That's James Carr off track. He's losing a lot of positions out there. Oh, and he's going to cut this whole thing, and this is going to lose him even more positions. I don't know what kind of slowdown this is that he's going to get for this, but he is being careful to rejoin safely. And he has dropped probably 15, 14 spots from that. It was quite a drop down with the order. He's side by side with Ethan Bass now. Bass in his first ATC start, I believe. And he will take Carr all the way down to the hairpin here. And up the inside, he will finish the overtake. 152 up into 18th. A lot of action on track. Looking at the exit of 4 here. There goes Schink. Right now, you have Saralegui and Clavijo leading the classes. And this is a look at Clavijo. He has held on to that Delta pole, Delta lead right there over Nate Kerr. Kerr gets wide, and he manages to gather it up. He's under pressure from Mike De Almeida. And De Almeida is looking to push his way up towards the top 10 here. When you got 2 Delta drivers in front of you, you'll want to get by them. And through the first hairpin. This hairpin, incredibly tricky. And the reason for that is it starts tight and then widens up and then it tightens again. So you have to double apex it. But when there's someone riding your tail, it's very easy for them to get a nose in there and make it difficult. Anthony Harrison has completed the pass on Lucas Lodato, but Lodato wants it back, so he goes to the inside, takes away the apex here. Will he be able to add the momentum on the exit? Here comes David Bauer. Will he make this 3 wide, or will he help Lodato down the straightaway? He's going to give him the bump draft. Into turn 1, Lodato on the inside of Anthony Harrison. That is a tight space to be fitting 3 cars into, but they managed to do it. So far, so good. I think a little bit of contact has pushed Harrison out wide, and he will lose spots to Bauer, to McFarland, and to the Delta leader. Evan Clavijo moves up into 11th, and a little thing to put on notice here. Remember the top 12. Oh, contact between Bauer and McFarland up ahead, and now the hairpin stacks up. Harrison sticks a nose in there, has to back out. Clavijo slips back into 12th, back into the clutches of Nate Kerr as he looks right here. Clavijo going to the outside of Harrison. Now Kerr gets hit. That is Mike De Almeida sending it up the inside. And De Almeida is not able to take that position. Up front, Gonzalo Fabi is battling for second with Matthew Mayer. He's got McKenzie and Hendricks behind. Fabi through on Mayer thus far. McKenzie's going to try and follow him, and this becomes the battle now for P3. Can McKenzie finish this off? They make contact. Mayer is not going to get this up without a fight. McKenzie keeps his nose in right here as they come through turn 5. He's still got a nose in. They're going to come up to the hairpin, and now he has to back out, but he goes around the outside. Both of them going deep. Here comes Micah Hendricks, and it's Hendricks' turn, and now Fleet Smith gets involved. He makes contact with McKenzie. Mayer and Hendricks are going for 3rd place now into the hairpin. Mayer has gone in deep, and Hendricks is going to cross him over. McKenzie's going to go through as well. They've all just swapped positions here. So McKenzie gets past Mayer, but Hendricks goes through on both of them, and the hometown boy comes through NASCAR 4 in 3rd place, looking for a podium here at Phoenix. Saralegui and Fabi are ahead. The rest of the field follows. Mayer is not able to do anything to McKenzie this time. We look at Fedorowski and Steven Lakota. They are coming off of turn 4, and Fedorowski has got that one locked down, it looks like. So we look at Mark Darnell, who's under pressure from Yongsi Lin. Lin has gained 6 positions in this race thus far. And we'll go on board with Trenton Kramer just behind. Kramer is Lin's teammate, actually, so these two, I'm sure Kramer didn't put up too much of a fight. Now hit Lynn through on Darnell, and that has well, Kramer's running in 3rd in class as well, so we should talk about him because he is a good 2.5 ahead of Fedorowski and Lakota behind. So he could be on for his first career podium in class. Nate Kerr as well. He's currently fighting, that was quite the camera swing there. He's currently fighting for P2, P1. He's chasing down Evan. I think Evan's got the pace on him just a little bit here when they get into clean air, but clean air is hard to come by in this race. James Carr behind. He's going for the inside on Edward Gorman, and he opens the door and manages to make it work. And ahead, Connor Acatella goes by his teammate, Mike De Almeida. So 2 position swaps in turn 1 on this lap. We look back at Tyler Bramble battling for P17 in class. He's got Zachary Goddard ahead. Tyler Stuckey behind. We go on board with Stuckey. And we jump up front to Lucas Lodato because he's under pressure from David Bauer. And Bauer's going to try and do a little over-under here, and he'll have the momentum. He'll get up the inside, and this is a good position to be because you can really take the apex away from people as they come through this corner. And Lodato, I think he's just gonna have to tuck in behind and try and go for his own little crossover move. He'll have the pace and the momentum coming off the corner. Bauer goes to the inside, makes sure to defend it, and then as they come through turn 1 side by side, Lodato is performing incredibly well here in his first ATC start. A lot of confidence through turn 1 there, but McFarland's going to slip by. It's so difficult when you end up on the outside. You're vulnerable not only to the car that's attacking you, but to the car behind. And close battling behind David Schmidt and Tyler Stuckey. This is for P38, and he goes around Stuckey through turn 1. This little group is led by Jason Lynn. Justin Rhodes battling with Trenton Kramer right now, and Matt Zepka is looking at the back of the two of them, wondering where he can go. Rhodes tries to hold the outside, but I don't think it's worked. He has not had the momentum. Yongxi Lin making a move on Edward Gorman. He'll have the inside line for this, and he should be able to make that stick. He gets out of the apron a bit, so that's going to scrub some momentum off here, and he decides to scrub off even more to hold the inside. Maybe a smart move, actually. Ryan Perez has to stop on the straightaway. I see his car coming to a stop. Lynn holds the inside through turn 1, but Gorman's done a great job of keeping his nose in, but in this final phase, it's just so difficult, and he has to back out. Back to the battle for the lead. Gonzalo Fabi has caught up to Manuel Saralegui, and now halfway through this sprint, we have a battle for the lead on our hands. The 3 car has had incredible pace. On that last lap, he was about 7/10 faster than Saralegui. We'll keep an eye on this. Darnell looking for a move on Ethan Bass into the NASCAR oval corners, 3 and 4, but not going to be able to do anything with it. We look back to the battle for the lead. If Bobby's going to make a move, the best place would be the second hairpin. I also like the NASCAR 3 and 4. I think if you can get a nose in there, that's actually not the most difficult pass to make. It sets you up nicely to finish it in turn 1 if you can get up the inside. But here, Saralegui still has quite a nice gap over Bobby, so no danger as of yet. We jump back to Ethan Bass, who's working on Edward Gorman, getting into the rear bumper of the 137 Honda. And up ahead, Evan Clavijo and Anthony Harrison battling for position. This is the Delta leader trying to break into the top 11. And Nate Kerr behind. This is important for Nate Kerr because if he wants to be inverted onto the front row with Evan Clavijo in race 2, the battle for the Delta lead, he's got to get by Anthony Harrison as well. And look at this, Clavijo held it around the outside and finishes the overtake before turn 1. And the 187 just gets better every week. And oh, look at this, Harrison is going to try and stick a nose back in. Clavijo had a wiggle mid-corner, but he's going to, I think, manage to finish this off. No, he has to leave the space. Harrison's done a great job fighting this back. He shoves Clavijo out wide. Clavijo manages to avoid the slowdown. No contact as they head towards the corner, and Harrison goes out wide. And I think most of that little contact there, a little bit more contact with Mike De Almeida. And now Nate Kerr is under pressure from Acatella, and the Delta drivers are in a fight for their lives. They've got Acatella, Carr, Harrison, and Mike De Almeida behind. Yongxi Lin also lurking, and this is the battle for the final 2 invert positions. We look back to the battle for the lead. Gonzalo Fabi's right on the back of Saralegui into turn 1. He kicks out into a slide. looking for something as they enter turn 5 at top speed. Here they come through the hairpin. You see Micah and McKenzie are hunting behind. James Carr has gone wide. Sarah Leggy. This may be the first time he'll be forced to defend in the hairpin. No, he is not. So Carr has rejoined safely. And Bass still working on Gorman just behind him now. But that has put Carr behind Lynn, Mike Almeida, Harrison, and Acatella. Justin Rhodes has been passed by Matt Zepka. Beckman Zepka finished the job. And no, Rhodes is going to slip back ahead for the moment. Up ahead, Mike DeAlmeida battling Anthony Harrison here into NASCAR 3 and 4. Harrison will get a nice wide line, but you know who's really looking to capitalize on this? It's Young-Si Lin. On board with him as we head into turn 1. And we're actually going to jump to Zepka. Actually, he has yielded, so we'll look back. Lynn slicks up the inside of Anthony Harrison, gets around him. Harrison going a bit wide there, opens the door. Sarah Leggy again under pressure from Fabi as they head down to turn 11. And this time I think he's got to defend. Fabi makes a move, a little bit of contact, and Sarah Leggy sent out of the lead into the grass. He manages to keep it out of the wall. And he is stranded on the outside of turn 11. This will be an easy rejoin, and he'll rejoin at decent speed as well. But that sends him down into 10th and at danger, at risk of missing the invert entirely. Gonzalo Fabi comes across the line to lead his first lap in this race. And now a spicy moment there between two Argentinian drivers battling for the lead in Phoenix. 5 laps to go, and Fabi now has a commanding lead over McKenzie, who has swapped with Hendricks. Hendricks may have picked up a slowdown there earlier. And now McKenzie takes advantage of that and has opened a little gap. Young-Si Lin now has targeted Mike DeAlmeida. Lin is close to getting into this invert, and if he inverts, he would be a threat at the front. He's got good pace today, just a little off in qualifying. Dan McFarland was attempting to move on David Bauer, now coming out of the second hairpin slowly. I wonder what happened there. Right on the back of the B4D driver. And Anthony Harrison is in a fight with James Carr, and Carr has gone around him in turn 12. Justin Rhodes gets passed by Adrian Fedorowski in the same spot. It is the prime overtaking position, as you see Rhodes using his windshield wiper to clear all the dust that I'm sure is getting kicked up. A lot of that parking lot in the center of the track is actually a weird sort of dusty gravel, and it gets up on your windshield. Fedorowski does complete the pass. Mike DeAlmeida is in a wheel-to-wheel situation with Young-Si Lin, and they keep it out of each other for a moment. A little bit of contact as they head towards 5, and I think Mike DeAlmeida is going to have to yield, and he does. Another position gain for the 36. And he is up 11 in this one. 2 more spots, and he's in the invert, but he's only got 3.5 laps to do it. Fabi is coming out of NASCAR 4 now, so there will be 4 laps to go at the line here. These laps are only a little over a minute long. And the gap to McKenzie is not shrinking, so this looks like at the moment, a victory for the 3. And of course, the stewards will have to look at the incident with Sarah Leggy, but as they come through turn 1, Sarah Leggy trying to pick through what positions he can here. They go around a lapped car, a lap T0 car, and now he's on the back of Lucas Lodato. Lodato in 9th. The Delta class drivers. Now Nate Kerr has not been able to close up this gap to Calvillo enough to really attack him, but they are running 1-2 far ahead of P3 in class. Trenton Kramer, as we cut in on him going wide actually, and that allows Zepka through, and Fedorowski may have a sniff at that Delta podium. On board with Fedorowski down to turn 11. He will go for a move, on Kramer, and he pulls it off, and he is up into third in class. And now Lodato under pressure from Saraleghi. Saraleghi's got the inside off of turn 4, but he's not able to do anything with it. Will he try something into turn 1? Sometimes drivers try and get a nose in here in the late phase. But he will be patient there. We cut to James Pierce. He is on the back of Cooper Akers. And this is the battle for 6th in Delta class between Pierce and Chang behind. Then Akers is going to slip wide, and Pierce is going to go through in turn 1, and he puts both the T0 racing cars behind him. Let's see if Akers can come back at him. I don't think so. So for now, that's Pierce up into 26th. Oh no, Pierce goes wide there. And now they will go side by side in a few. We have also the battle for the Delta podium. Kramer is actually losing more positions. No, that's Rhodes that's trying to go by him around the outside. And James Pierce has been hit in turn 11 and spun, and he's going to have to tow with damage. So we cut back to James, Justin Rhodes, and Adrian Fedorowski. Not Adrian Fedorowski, Trenton Kramer. Still getting used to all the new liveries on the grid this season. Justin Rhodes into a 4-wheel slide. Manages to gather it up somehow and only loses the position to Trenton and Steven. I cannot believe that he didn't end up a little further out than that. Yongsi Lin is under pressure from Connor Acatella here. They've made inroads to the Delta drivers, but Acatella is not going away without a fight. And you have Mike Gomita and James Carr behind, so you have to be careful here. Gonzalo Fabi has just taken the white flag at Phoenix. So as they come through turn 1, this is the last time around the circuit. And you see the gaps fairly strong in most places. Lin trying to keep Acatella off his back. Lodato is losing Saraleghi. Fedorowski trying to catch Zepka here. I'm not sure he'll be able to do that. You have Fuada Rijla trying to hunt down Tiani Chang at the end. You have Brian Saab. Oh, he's got damage. He's on the back of Jason Lin. But Gonzalo Fabi, last season at Donington, he picked up a commanding victory. Today, he didn't lead most of the race, but he slipped into the lead. It may end up being his 2nd career victory in the Alpha Touring Challenge here at Phoenix. In the sprint race, Fabi comes across the line. Your winner, McKenzie P2, and Micah Hendricks on podium at his home track in P3. Matthew Mayer and Fleet Smith round out the top 5. And then in the Delta class, Evan Clavijo comes across the line. He wins in Phoenix, just barely holding off Nate Kerr. He was under pressure the entire race, but he managed to get it done. And that was a tight Delta race the whole time. They never really battled necessarily for the lead at any point, but they were constantly dealing with people around them, and it was an interesting fight the whole way through. Yongsi Lin gained 12 positions in that race. An impressive drive from him. That is one race down. We will return shortly to show you the feature race with the top 12 inverted. It's going to be an exciting one. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Phoenix. The sun is setting and the second race of the day is about to begin, and this one should be spicy. 2 Delta drivers have snuck onto the front row. And in third place, Lucas Lodato, which is Nate Kerr's teammate. So you've got the 2 Bearcat Motorsports cars in the top 3. Manuel Saraleghi, after his getting spun out of the lead in the first race, he starts 4th in this race, a prime position to come back. What will happen in race 2 here at Phoenix? The sun is setting. We have one race to go, 30 minutes. We are away here, and immediately Lucas Lodato around into the lead. Nate Kerr got a bad start, so it will be him, and then Evan Clavijo as they come through turn 1 into turn 2. 2 wide, 3 wide, cars everywhere as they roll through, and even more cars stacked up back there. I can't believe they're getting through this as cleanly as they are. Here they come into the hairpin for the first time. Clavijo right in the back of the leader. They are stacking up huge back there. A little bit of contact, a little bit hitting. I see Harrison take a shot. I see one of the Croc Promotions cars going wide here, or getting, kicked wide. Here we go into the second hairpin. People getting a little more. Oh, there goes Gonzalo Fabi with a big dive up the inside of Micah Hendricks. And now this whole group of cars as they come into the NASCAR corner. It's going to be a 3-wide situation with Nate Kerr on the outside, Matthew Mayer on the inside, and they are going to figure it out as they come through NASCAR 4. And for the lead, Lodato is ahead. Saraleggi battles Clavijo. He put a nose in. Clavijo getting into a big slide. The Delta leader in trouble. Delta leader still in trouble. Clavijo out into the dirt. He manages to recover. Slots in ahead, just behind Fleet Smith. David Bauer ahead of Francois Schenck. Lucas Lodato is your leader at the moment. Saraleggi is in P2, and the race proper can now begin. We're a lap and a half through this one thus far, and still a lot is going on. Here they come through the hairpin for the second time in this race. You have Anthony Harrison sticking a nose up in there on Brian Perez. Oh no, I'm getting my 4OG cars mixed up. That is Brian Saab battling with Brian Perez, and Perez trying to take the inside down to turn 11, and a little bit of contact with Kyle Murray ahead, and with Jason Lynn, I think, and now all kinds, there are cars everywhere. What is going on? Rakowski is leading this little group into the corner. Perez slots in ahead of Saab, and they are all going to, I think, be okay down to turn 1 here. Perez is going to put a nose in. And Saab's going to try and go around the outside, but Saab into a big slide, and he has ended up out in that grass. And now look up front. Oh, look at this. Mayer gets into the back of Micah. Fabi and Mayer now go side by side, and Fabi already has some right front damage. He gets into the side of Mayer there as they all stacked up behind Clavijo, and McKenzie is behind this group as well. So a lot of guys stacking up, and now McKenzie going for the move on Mayer, side by side through turn 11, and behind Anthony Harrison. Wheel to wheel with Ethan Bass, but manages to get around him there. So McKenzie did not have the momentum off the corner, has to tuck back in behind Mayer. Clavijo still holding Micah Hendricks behind him. Lodato under pressure now for the lead. He's led his first laps in his ATC career. Now he goes a bit wide in turn 1, and he invites Saraleggi alongside him, and they will battle with Dan McFarland close behind. McFarland already had a P2 in Belle Isle. I'm sure he'd love to see these guys get together and cause something, and they do get together, but something has not happened yet. Saraleggi goes wide. McFarland trying to sneak in and take advantage. They make contact at the apex of the first hairpin. And down to the second hairpin they come, and the battle for the lead is hotting up. Here we go. David Bauer is in 4th, Schenck 5th, Fleet Smith 6th. All these guys fighting for the lead, but Saraleggi goes for the big dive on Lodato, and I think he has the advantage now into NASCAR 3 and 4. You want to be on this inside line. And Saraleggi, after what happened to him in the first race, he is going to slot into the lead here, but gets into the wall. He's overcooked to the little, and Lodato goes back through and leads the lap as well, but he goes wide into turn 1, and Saraleggi goes up the inside. And this time, I think Saraleggi's got him. They're all going to stack up behind. Man, McFarland wanted to take advantage, but he can't go anywhere with it. Saraleggi firmly into the lead now, and we check in on Yongsing Lin and James Carr going at it through turn 5. Carr trying to hold that inside, and if you can close off the car behind into the hairpin, that is huge. Yongsing Lin has some rear end damage from something. Not sure what. Trouble back here. Oh, that is Enough, who is off track. And you have Daryl Harris battling with Brian Saab here. Just cars everywhere further back in the field. We check in on Stephen Lykota, who is in 20th. He is third in the Delta class, going for that podium. He's got Adrian Fedorowski and Trenton Kramer behind him, but a car separating them, Cooper Akers. Further ahead, Micah Hendricks is now under pressure from Gonzalo Fabi. He's not been able to get around Evan Clavijo, and the gap between Clavijo and the leading 6 is growing a bit, so Micah's going to want to speed this up. He gets to do a bit of a slide, though, and Fabi kicks him into even more of a slide. They get side by side. Fabi is really beat up the right front of that car, and now he is going to slot ahead of the 473. He is taking no prisoners here today at Phoenix, and Micah is going to show him that he is willing to fight as well. He gives him a shove into the hairpin, but that only opens him up to an attack from Mayer, and Mayer on the right side. McKenzie is looking to take advantage of this again. Now he is looking to attack Mayer, and on the outside of the SRG driver, and he holds the outside there for the moment. Now they come back to the NASCAR corners, and he'll go to the left. Will he go for a move here? Yes, he will. Through NASCAR 3 and 4, he's going to take on the number 12. And out of the final corner, they will be wheel to wheel down to turn 1. Who's going to back out of this one? I don't think either of them will. They hit the brakes at the same time. Into the corner, McKenzie on the inside. Mayer's going to have to back out of that one. Here comes Nate Kerr going around the outside a bit deep, but that's not necessarily a bad thing with how these guys are stacking up. James Carr comes up to the back of this group now. Sarah Legge opening up his lead with McFarland, Lodato, Bauer, Schink all stacked up behind. We look in at Ethan Bass, who's been working on the back of Edward Gorman. These guys have been attached to the hip through both races. Going into turn 11, we may have some fighting here. Bauer looking for a move on Lodato. And Clavijo looking for a move on Sheik. He goes to the outside, and the Delta leader is scrapping for the top 5. At Phoenix, the 187 is flying in this second race. He has taken that invert. He's had a good start. He's held on to it. He's held Micah behind him. He's held Gonzalo behind him. Now he's completing an overtake on Francois Schink into turn 1. And Clavijo is up into 6th overall, but can he hold it? He gets to do a little bit of a slide, and Schink slips back ahead. A little bit of contact, and Clavijo can't hold on to it. So now back under pressure from Bobby. And the Delta leader is putting on some moves here. Can't hold on to 6th place there for the moment. Nate Kerr, 2nd place. Oh, he's gone wide again. I'm not sure if he was sort of serving to slow down there or had a shallow entry into the corner, but he slips back into 17th, and he's still P2 in the Delta class. Stephen Lykota is still 3 spots behind him, but Evan Clavijo is doing a wonderful job of playing defense, playing a little bit of offense, and he is sitting in P1, 10 spots ahead of the next Delta driver. That's going to be a massive bounty of points if he can hold on to this. Bobby looking for a little move here, but not going to worry Clavijo. He knows he can get to the apex before him. Up ahead, McFarland still holding off Lodato and Bauer. I think McFarland may have an edge here. We'll see. Lodato has had a couple of chances to get closer. We look back further in the field. Brian Saab, Mike DeAlmeida, Tyler Bramble, these guys fighting for the last points positions here. So this is still fairly important stuff for these drivers. The back half of the Delta field. Kyle Murray battling for 14. Wow, I've cut in at the right time here. Murray and Rick Meyer both kick into a slide in turn 1. And Lynn has gone wide, inviting an attack here. And this is all battling for P14, 13 in class. James Pierce leads this group. Rick Meyer is going to get passed here by Eric Coons. Fuad Rijla and Trenton Kramer going side by side in turn 11. And Kramer and Rijla, this is for a top 5 in the Delta class. And Justin Rhodes is sitting just behind them, looking for something here. He goes up the inside into turn NASCAR 3, and he's got it done. We look back ahead to Matthew Mayer. We'll go on board with him so you can see just how stacked up this field is. They're doing lap times a good half-second slower, some of these guys, than the last race because of how close all these guys are running. And I'm not really sure who's holding up who, but guys are playing defense and not really worried about driving fast. It's making it kind of hard to pass in a way unless someone goes for a pass. So yeah, you see into turn 11 here, no one wants to make a move because if you don't pull it off, someone else is going to pull one off on you. Speaking of pulling one off, Ethan Bass, he tried to pull one off on Gorman, but he goes a bit wide, and Acatella actually has to roll up on exit to avoid hitting him. But Gorman stays ahead there. Your Delta leader, Evan Clavijo, he's under a bit more pressure from Gonzalo Fabi now. Fabi can't get up the inside in turn 1. And up ahead, Bauer makes a move on Lodato for P3, and he moves on to the podium. And remember, Lodato started this race third. Fabi now again working on Clavijo, but Clavijo just beats him to the apex of 5, and they will head into the hairpin as they were. Look at this stack up. Someone is looking for a move. McKenzie goes a little wide there, but Mayer's not able to get a nose in. Kramer and Alrizla are still going at it. Into the first hairpin. Alrizla trying to get around the outside. He may have an advantage on corner exit here if he can hold this. But Kramer's done a good job on exit, and that Honda, as we know, it really kills it on corner exits. But they are going to take each other down to turn 11 here, and Alrizla will get ahead. Mayer and Carr are side by side. And I think Carr's trying to get this job done, and he will. Gonzalo Fabi has also passed Evan Clavijo finally through NASCAR 3 and 4. We're just over a third into this race. Clavijo gets a bit wide there. Hendricks had a chance to get a nose in, but couldn't. Carr under pressure from Mayer, and now they are still fighting for this spot. This is for P10. Yangtze Lin pulls up to the back of this group as they are still dueling. We look back to James Pierce. He and Jeff Rakowski battling for what is P12 in the Delta class, and Pierce gets around Rakowski in turn 1 as she slips just a bit wide off the racing line. And further back, Jason Lynn and Tyler Bramble. The lights have just come on, and they are all fighting for what is P16 in class. That is where Tyler is running, and these are for points because only the top 40 earn the good points. Oh, a little bit of contact. Lynn into Bowman. Bowman's going to slip down to 40 is there. Rick Meyer benefits. Up ahead, Tianyi Chang. He has Kramer on the back of him for P6 in class. And he'll get a little bump draft down to turn 1. I don't think Kramer will. He go for a move? He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it. Nope. He gets Chang off the racing line, though. It's not a bad idea, but you can really hold the inside there. And it hasn't gone to plan. Perez looking for something on Goddard. This is for 10th in class. Perez running 31st right now. I think he had a little bit of trouble in the first race. Got collected in an incident. So he is back running 11th in class at the moment. Chang is going to let Kramer by here in the hairpin. He's gone a bit wide, but he did have the momentum because of that exit. Now here comes Damon Mitchell as well. They're going to go 3 wide to turn 11. And Kramer, they all swap. Kramer goes to the back. Mitchell goes to the front. And Lewis Gilbert, his Croc Promotions teammate, is hoping the same can happen to him shortly. Now Clavijo is still keeping Hendricks and McKenzie and co. all behind him. So Bobby's getting away here a bit. Connor Acatella has had some kind of issue, so he has dropped off the board. Sarah Legge has a 3-second lead over Dan McFarland now. McFarland under pressure from Bauer a little bit here, so we'll keep an eye on that. Fabi is closing up to the back of Smith and Schink and the like, and Clavijo still holding on to that P8 and that bundle of points. And Nate Kerr all the way back in P16. He is currently 7 seconds off of Clavijo. Then you have Steven Lakota in P3 in class. He's another 3 seconds off of Kerr. And you see Fedorowski making a move on Cooper Akers there, or a defensive move. I'm not sure who was ahead, but the 22 stays ahead. And that is for 20th. And Akers will go to the inside here, and I think Adrian's entered the corner a bit wide, and that has opened the door, but he'll have a good amount of momentum, and it's actually served him well. I shouldn't have been too judgmental there. He knows what he's doing. McFarlane, I think he's a little bit of front left damage. It's hard to tell. Halfway through this race, though, and it looks like his race is going to be fending off Bauer for another P2. And this will get him close to the lead of the championship between this and his performance in the last race. And McKenzie finished P2 in the last race, so they'll be very tight in the standings. Lodato gets passed by Smith into turn 11, so he slips down into 5th, and that's Fleet Smith into 4th. That means that you have David Bauer and Fleet Smith, 2 breakfast for dinner drivers, in 3rd and 4th, and oh, a big slide! Contact! Lodato made contact with his left rear, and now Shink's gonna try and get in and pass both of them, and he may pull this off. Oh, what a sly move from the veteran, and 3 wide behind as Gonzalo Fabi makes them all fight for it. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Lodato's going to have to take a slowdown penalty for cutting that. Smith has lost more ground. Fabi goes through. Oh my God, that was absolutely brutal racing. Elbows out, and I cannot believe how many positions did Shink just gained? 2 positions there, and he has gotten and put a full second between him and all those guys now. All these guys are stacking up. Because of that, it has stacked them up into Clavijo, and Clavijo is now under pressure from Hendricks, and this is Hendricks' first really good shot at actually passing Clavijo, and I think he may be able to get this done. McKenzie's so far back that I don't think he's going to be able to take advantage of this, but we'll see. If they keep the fight up through turn 1, it might be possible. Oh, but Hendricks can't even keep it up into turn 1. Oh, but Clavijo goes a bit wide. Mayer goes wide. Mayer and Carr going wide at the same time there. Clavijo does lose the position to Hendricks, and he slots in ahead of McKenzie. That is exactly what you want to see if you are Micah Hendricks. And into the hairpin. Oh, Clavijo's going to try and get wide there a little bit. They got stacked up and almost making contact there. Further ahead, Smith's had a rough go of it these last couple laps. Clavijo is still your Delta leader. McKenzie's going for a move on him here. He's going to send it in. Almost makes contact with Micah at the apex, and now off the quarter, he'll also have that inside line. So within a lap, not what Micah wanted to see, but for P9, here goes McKenzie. And remember, this is a 12-car invert, so McKenzie started 11th, and he's only now making it to 9th. And Hendricks, he started, it's the same deal. He started 10th and is only now making it to 8th. The strength of this invert has been crazy. Nate Kerr really leaning on Edward Gorman to make it through turn 2. Making use of that long Audi body. It's not, I don't think it's even the longest wheelbase, I think. But you love to see a little bit of leaning. Now Shink has lost that gap to Fabi and is under more pressure here. So we'll keep an eye on that. In the battle for P3 in the Delta class, Lakota is opening up a gap to Fedorowski. Tianyi Chang is... Lewis Gilbert got by him, actually. So the Croc Promotions driver moves up to 7th in class. And Gonzalo Fabi has gone around Francois Shink coming out of the final corner. So he is promoted into 4th with just over 10 minutes to go. This is one of the closer battles on track. I do see Yongsi Lin closing in on the Delta leader. Clavijo still holding on to a great amount of points here. Now Nate Kerr, what's that gap now? It's slightly under 7 seconds, so he's cut about a half second off of it. But really no threat with 10 minutes left in this one. About 10 more revolutions of the circuit left. Kyle Murray still in the back of Zachary Bowman here in the battle for 14. He's going to get into a couple slides today to keep that car looking clean. Fleet Smith is now under pressure from the duo of Hendricks and McKenzie. They've been cutting through the field together this whole race. Not been doing a whole lot of cutting. Well, they passed like 2 cars. But Lodato and Smith are immediately ahead, so this could turn into a spicy little battle here for the top 6. We go on board with Yongston Lin, who is on the back of the Delta leader. And Gonzalo Fabi is off track at hairpin 1 and has towed the car. So now this is a spicy battle for the top 5. And Schink regains 4th. Hendricks right up into the back bumper of Fleet Smith. Let's see if he can use that Audi power to get something done. And he knew that if he didn't, McKenzie was going to go jump the inside of him there, so he had to make the move on Smith. And now in the NASCAR 4, who will it be? 4P6. 9 minutes to go at the line. Hendricks on the inside, and McKenzie's going to try and follow him into turn 1. 3 cars. Here we go. McKenzie up the inside of Smith as well, and I think he's going to get it done through turn 3, and he has. So a 1-2 punch. Hendricks, McKenzie, 6th and 7th. Sarah Legge, we haven't checked on him in a bit. He's opened up a 4.5-second lead over McFarlane in just over 15 minutes. So it's been a great drive from him thus far, and a nice recovery from what happened to him in the first race. Justin Rhodes and Cooper Akers fighting for 20th, so a top 20 at stake here. And Rhodes on the back of the T0 car with Radar Vizsla and Damon Mitchell fairly close behind if something were to happen. Akers takes a defensive line, so Rhodes is going to try and over-under him here. 8 minutes to go. The sun sets. The sun really has set here at Phoenix, but there's still quite a bit of light in the sky, and there will be until the end of the race. As you see the lead cars cycle through, there goes Lodato, Hendricks, McKenzie, Smith, Clavijo, and Lynn. And now it's calmed down a bit. You've got gaps, and once you're one-on-one, it's a bit harder to pass, a bit harder to find that spot to force people off their line. We look at Mitchell Rickmeyer. He's battling for 35th. That's one of the closer battles on track, him and Tyler Bramble. We have Clavijo still under pressure from Lynn, but he's doing a good job of keeping him back there. And has at times opened the gap. Now Lodato, he has also opened a little bit of a gap to Hendricks. So with 7 minutes to go, a few of these drivers putting on a strong defense. James Carr and Matthew Mayer roll through turn 2. Carr, I feel like he's been looking at the back of this group for a long time. I'm sure he's hoping that Lynn and Clavijo start fighting up ahead so that they can start to get into it. But I'm not certain that is going to happen, at least not as quickly as he wants. And he's going to look to the right of Mayer here and try and set him up for a little over-under into turn 11. But I think he's not gotten the exit he wants there. Hendricks not close enough to Lodato to be a threat. Rhodes, again, trying the outside on Akers, and he's gone pretty deep. He's actually done a good job finding the grip around the outside of the 29, but he'll be at a disadvantage going through the NASCAR corner. And he's got Damon Mitchell right behind, so this could end up being a little interesting. Into turn 1, Mitchell, will he make it 3 wide? Into turn 1, there's no way! He's done it! They make contact, and somehow they all stay on track! Damon Mitchell! I don't blame Cooper Akers for flashing him, but also he's managed to do it, so who can blame him? And Rhodes is still not able to get around Akers, and now Vizsla is on the back of him. but he will not be able to do anything with that. So Lodato, this is the closest that Hendricks has been to him. And he'll have a shot. And once again, if you're Hendricks, you're looking at McKenzie thinking, please, I just want some separation here. And they come to turn 1. Hendricks on the inside. Lodato's going to do a good job holding the outside here. Oh, but McKenzie is going to get a nose in to the apex of turn 2. But Lodato, oh, will he leave the space? No, McKenzie has to tuck in behind. So once again, Hendricks has managed to cut off the gap between him and McKenzie. McKenzie going wide on Lodato here, trying to find something. Oh, he's got a lot of momentum heading down turn 11. He loses some of it, but he still goes for a move. Lodato does not take a defensive line. McKenzie up the inside, and he is through, I think, once again. And then further behind, Mayer and Carr are still battling back there. I think McKenzie's going to finish this one off. He does. Carr on the outside of Mayer as Mayer stays ahead. Gilbert is side by side with James Pierce into turn 11, and Gilbert will slip ahead. That is for P7 in class. Oh, look at this. Lodato's come back at McKenzie, and now they get into it. And Lodato gets kicked wide by McKenzie. Fleet Smith trying to carry it around the outside. This is going to stack everybody up behind. Smith has to back out of it. Here comes Evan Clavillo trying to take advantage. You don't see Lynn. Lodato's still there. Oh no, what is going to happen here? They are all packed together on the exit of the hairpin. You have Smith, you have Lynn, you have Lodato on the right side of the track. Clavillo is going further right and into the wall. Hard impact across the track and into his teammate. He collects his teammate Matthew Mayer. And James Carr is also involved, but his car looks like it can still drive. For Mayer, for Clavillo, it's heartbreak, and Nate Kerr inherits the lead. And it was his teammate's car that Clavillo spun off of, and now Nate Kerr is up to P11 and has the Delta lead. He was all the way back in 17th at one point. Oh, we look back at the battle for P2. McFarlane and Bauer. McFarlane's opened a bit of a gap here, and Schenck has actually crept up to the tail end of them, so he wants to have a say in this podium. And I think he would certainly enjoy to be back on the podium for ATC13. Corrado Ridgelet up the inside of Justin Rhodes. Oh, a little bit of contact there. It's hard to avoid the contact, the way that the track bends there. When you're the outside car, you kind of have to expect that you're going to get hip checked a little and just be prepared to take it. And now James Pierce is going for a move on Tiani Chang here, and he does go around. Mitchell Rickmeyer still working on the back of Tyler Bramble. Edward Gorman, we haven't talked about a lot in this race, but he's been with Mark Darnell for most of it. And Lakota and Fedorowski behind. Now, both these guys are on the Delta podium, no longer fighting for it, though Fedorowski was closing in on Lakota a bit here. Now it's a battle for P2. And what a Delta podium. Kerr, Lakota, and Fedorowski. Has Fedorowski been on a Delta podium before? I'm sure he has. But Lakota and Kerr certainly haven't. And Kerr is looking for his first career Delta win in his second career Delta start. And there's only a minute left in this race. Sarah Legge is coming through the NASCAR corners now. So he will take the white flag here at Phoenix. 1 to go, just a minute left in this race. Schenck is right on the back of Bauer, and then you have Hendricks and McKenzie, who are separated by quite a bit at this point after what happened between McKenzie and Lodato. And then you have Kerr, who's going to be under pressure from Lynn on this final lap. And then you have Darnell and Gorman, Lakota and Fedorowski, this whole group. Sarah Legge dealing with some lap traffic here. That's Brian Saab. he is out of the final hairpin. He just has 2 corners to go. Saraleggi has driven nearly a full season of ATC at this point. He's been at the front the whole time, but this time he's at the top, the peak. He won for Saraleggi, career victory number 1 at Phoenix in the feature. He's done it. The 128 wins. McFarlane P2. Bauer holds on for P3. A good podium from him. I hope he doesn't get black flag doing that. Youngsi Lin at the line. A very close run to the line. And Lodato by 3/100ths eclipses Youngsi Lin. And Nate Kerr across the line for his first career Delta victory. First career Delta podium, I believe. I don't think he was on the podium for Belle Isle. Maybe I should look at that again. But certainly his first career victory. Getting some congratulations from cars around there. Lakota P2 and Fedorowski P3 in class. And honestly, this track looked like it raced really well. It certainly looks strange and feels strange to drive, but that was an entertaining race from start to finish. And for Saraleggi, well done to him. He was driving well in race 1, and then in race 2, he got what he deserved. A victory for him, for ATR Argentos. I believe that is that team's first victory, because Fernandez has come close before, but has not managed it himself. And that also means that both races were won by Argentinians. Fabi in the first race and Saraleggi in the second race. So that will do it from here at Phoenix. Let's take a look at your final results from all of the races today. Starting with race 1, the sprint. Gonzalo Fabi, 2.3 seconds ahead of Logan McKenzie. He wins the sprint race, and then Hendricks rounds out the podium. Of course, hometown, so good to see him here on the podium at his home track. Mayer and Smith, 4th and 5th. And then in the Delta class, you have Clavijo and Kerr. They were neck and neck that entire time. It was great to see. And then Fedorowski back in P22 overall in the number 22. For that, he is not driving for QZ Motorsports anymore. That is outdated information. We gotta get 212 Racing or 212 Racing in there. Let me know how that is pronounced. Is it 212? Is it 212? That group has joined the grid, and they are sure to tear up the Delta Team Championship, as evidenced by this performance. And the rest of the results from race 1, heading on down. Short track, 20-minute race. You had 39 cars finish on the lead lap, and 42 cars finish the first race overall. And you see James Pierce, one of the 212 racing guys there, it looks like it. You see Tyler Bramble also has it on there, so we need to get it on Fedorowski. On to the next race, the feature race. We look at the top of the board and we see the 128, Saraleggi, with a 7-second advantage by the end of that race, over like 25 minutes. He just had a crazy amount of pace today. And then McFarlane and Bauer round out the podium. Schenk and Hendricks top 5. And then you have McKenzie, Smith, Lodato, Lynn, and Bass sneaking into the top 10. And then you have Nate Kerr for Bearcat. It's his first Delta victory, and he almost got into the top 10 as well, which would have been impressive. I mean, this drive was still very impressive. It's a shame what happened to Clavijo, but in the end, it was Kerr who kept it clean, kept it on track, and gets the victory. Stephen Lakota with his first Delta podium, and then Adrian Fedorowski slips into 3rd place on the in the Delta class. And the rest of your results are as follows for the feature. You see Mike D'Almeida and Matthew Mayer had trouble. Acatella had trouble. So Yellow Flag Motorsports did not score a whole lot of points today. because Polasek was also absent. No drops in the team championship, so this is going to hurt them a bit, this feature race. You have Bobby, who ended up down in 40th, Harrison down in 45th. That wraps up our second round here at Phoenix. Let's take a quick look at the drivers and team championship standings, and then we will go ahead and leave the track. From everyone here at ATC, thank you for watching, and have a good night.